Imagine waking up tomorrow morning with an unfamiliar calm humming beneath your ribs, as if someone has tuned your heartbeat to the exact frequency of possibility. You swing your legs out of bed and notice the floor feels steadier, your spine taller, the air lighter. Nothing in the room has changed, yet everything has changed, because you are suddenly certain, even if no one else knows it yet, that you can steer the day wherever you choose. That quiet certainty is confidence, and contrary to what many believe, it is not a mystical gift granted at birth. It is a skill you sculpt, moment by moment, word by word, choice by choice. Confidence is the invisible current that guides conversations, tilts opportunities in your favor, and whispers to the world that you are worth betting on. Without it, life becomes a maze of almosts and maybes. But with it, hallways open into ballrooms of chance. The trouble is that most of us learn early to doubt our own brilliance. A careless remark from a teacher, a raised eyebrow from a friend, an awkward silence after we speak. Tiny pinpricks that puncture our self-image until we begin patching the holes with hesitation. We call that patched together feeling realism, when in truth, it is self-betrayal wearing a practical mask. Yet every belief that undermines you was once just a passing thought. Thoughts are not iron bars, they are clouds. The moment you catch one drifting in, "I'm not ready," "I'll sound foolish," "people will laugh," you already possess the power to reshape it. Ask, is this a fact, or is it fear? 9 times out of 10, it is fear. And fear is smoke that clears when you walk straight through. Science backs up what sages have preached for centuries. The mind is a potter's wheel, and repetition is the hand that molds it. Each time you choose courage, your brain threads a new pathway of electrical signals. The term is neuroplasticity, and it means your nervous system rewires itself like vines climbing towards sunlight. Add a dash of dopamine, the reward chemical that lights up whenever you complete even the smallest goal, and the brain begins craving brave acts the way children crave summer afternoons. Body language accelerates the process. Stand like you have a secret worth guarding, and your hormonal cocktail subtly shifts, cortisol draining away while testosterone rises just enough to make your voice steady and your gaze direct. You can literally pose your way into new chemistry. But chemistry without ritual is a half-built bridge, so you practice. Before the sun is fully up, you stand before the mirror, meet your own eyes, and speak seeds into the soil of your psyche. I am more than yesterday. I am allowed to be here. I am allowed to take up space. The words might tremble at first, but every repetition deepens their roots. When you leave the house, you square your shoulders even if no one is watching, because the first person you must convince is always yourself. You reach the cafe counter and greet the barista by name, not because you crave their approval, but because generosity of attention is the fastest way to break the shell of shyness. At work, you volunteer a thought you would normally swallow. In the evening, you open a notebook and record one victory. A paragraph drafted, a call made, a fear faced. These are micro-medals you pin to the walls of memory, proof against future doubt. Fear will snarl, of course. It will remind you that risk carries the possibility of embarrassment, that history can repeat itself, that safety feels so deliciously numb. Here is the secret no guru can bypass. Fear never disappears. What changes is your relationship to it. You start treating fear like a weather report, useful to note, foolish to worship. When it predicts storms, you pack an umbrella of preparation and go anyway. You ask yourself, what is the absolute worst outcome? And then, if that happened, could I survive? 99% of the time the answer is yes, and the remaining 1% is still worth the story you gather along the way. Action becomes your antidote. You learn that courage is not the absence of dread, but the forward motion in its presence. If you grew up shy, you may feel as if your tongue weighs a kilogram each time you consider speaking to a stranger. Remember that identity is a draft, not a final script. Swap the label "I'm shy" for "I am practicing boldness." Begin with the smallest social push-ups, a nod on the street, a brief compliment in an elevator. Your body language adjusts like a camera coming into focus. You walk as though you have a destination worthy of your stride. Negative commentary bubbles up. You sounded weird. They think you're awkward. And you challenge it aloud. Maybe, maybe not. But I am learning. Each rebuttal robs the critic of oxygen. As conversations grow easier, you tackle bigger arenas, asking a question in a meeting, introducing yourself at networking events, perhaps joining Toastmasters where stumbles earn applause because every stumble proves you are stretching. Meanwhile, you cultivate a craft, coding, painting, playing guitar, until competence becomes a lighthouse inside you, visible even on nights of self-doubt. Words are magic, so you cast them with purpose. Affirmations are not fluffy mantras. They are software updates for the subconscious. You say, "My potential is louder than my past," and neurons fire accordingly. You say, "Mistakes feed my evolution," and shame loosens its chokehold. You repeat, "I have a right to speak," and the reticular activating system, your brain's filter, starts scanning for supporting evidence. Speak these lines in the shower, in traffic, into the steam of your coffee. Write them on sticky notes and slip them into the pages of books. Over time, the inner echo that once said, "Who do you think you are?" transforms into, "Watch who I become." Yet lurking in daily life are subtle assassins of assurance. Chief among them is negative self-talk, that running commentary more vicious than any external critic. When you catch it murmuring sabotage, pivot. Replace, "I always screw up," with, "I learned something valuable today." Comparison is another thief. Scrolling through curated highlight reels only feeds the illusion that everyone else is miles ahead. Track your own yardage instead. Progress is personal. Then comes validation addiction, living for likes and nods, forfeiting autonomy for applause. Practice giving yourself the gold star first. External praise can then be enjoyed instead of inhaled. Toxic company drags you backward too. Spend your precious hours with those who celebrate effort and speak possibilities fluently. Overthinking strangles initiative. Set timers for decisions and let motion refine your choice. Finally, neglecting your body sabotages your spirit. Hydrate, move, sleep, because biological fog makes even minor challenges look mountainous. Picture now, a single ordinary evening. You sit quietly on the balcony, dusk pooling like violet ink across the sky. You review the day. You returned an email that intimidated you, corrected yourself mid-thought when negativity crept in, laughed with a coworker you used to avoid, jogged 2 city blocks farther than yesterday. None of these moments will trend on social media, yet collectively they are reshaping the architecture of your identity. You feel it in your shoulders, in the slower cadence of your breathing, in the way you occupy the seat as though it belongs to you. Which, of course, it does. Tomorrow you will stretch a little further, and the day after that, a little further still. And eventually you will look back across the months and barely recognize the silhouette of the person who believed confidence was for someone else. Confidence will never mean perfection. It means choosing to continue, choosing to speak, choosing to attempt even with tremor in your hands. It means understanding that doubt is part of the ensemble, but you are the director. It means forgiving yourself swiftly so growth is not delayed by guilt. It means treating every setback as raw material for the story you will someday tell to someone still standing where you once stood. Most of all, it means recognizing that the world benefits immeasurably when you decide to shine rather than shrink. Your ideas, laughter, curiosities, and talents become invitations for others to rise too. In that sense, cultivating confidence is an act of quiet generosity. By liberating yourself, you give permission for collective expansion. So here is the final invitation. Tonight, before sleep folds over you, write down one small action you commit to tomorrow that your timid self would veto. Maybe it is booking the dance class, initiating the difficult conversation, submitting the application, or simply wearing colors that announce your mood instead of hiding it. Place the note where morning light will find it. When dawn comes, read the promise aloud and keep it. Keep it whether or not your stomach flutters, whether or not your voice shakes, whether or not anybody claps. Keep it because each kept promise is a stitch in the fabric of unshakable self-trust. Keep enough of them, and one day soon you will rise not imagining confidence but embodying it, the frequency of possibility now your permanent pulse.